Good evening, this is Alex Borm, or Not Sparta. Here are today's Tropics for September 9th, 2019. Uh, First up here we got 94L, which is pretty broad right now. See maybe a bit of a mid-level spin in this area, but there's really not much at the low levels at the moment. As you can see, it's a bit lacking in convection as well. There is a bit around here that's newly fired, as well as here, but as you can see, it's not really organized at all. There's a bit here too, and you can see that the entire region around it isn't really as dry or void of convection as it has been in the last while. There are a couple of reasons for this. It's 94L is moving or closer to into like 45 west almost, which means getting to the warmer waters with more heat content and less stable atmosphere. In addition, it's also near the monsoon trough. This is a bit of an older ASCAP pass, but you can see that there are some westerlies here and easterlies up here, which means that this is generally where the trough lies. So right now it's helping keep up a bit of spin and also acting as an area of convergence at low levels, which supports this convection, which makes it look better than it would really be if it were splitting off from there, which it would probably need to do to become a tropical cyclone, which has become more and more unlikely as it looks like it might be starting to get sheared in the next few days. Right now there is a bit of shear to the north, as you can see some upper level outflow going to the east, but right now it's more to the north of the disturbance, with this upper low really causing a lot of that shear. As you can see right here, it's and as well it's digging down, but as you can see though, there's more easterly shear towards the south, which means there's generally anticyclonic flow in this area, which is generally favorable for convection to form. This means there's more upper divergence, which allows for rising air, as the divergence means that area that air has diverged from needs to be filled. So air has to rise to get there, as it can't sink from the stratosphere. However, this environment probably won't stick around for too long. Right now it looks like in the GFS analysis that 94L is this little green area, and as you can see with the 200 millibar winds, it's a bit of a northeasterly, but it matches up with the low level flow, so it's not really much shear. But as you can see, there is an upper trough here, the upper tropospheric trough, or Tutlow. As you can see, there's northeasterly shear here and southwesterly shear here, and there's this upper low right here that I was just talking about earlier. Right now, as I said, it doesn't look too bad in this region because all that shear is to the north. However, in the next few days, see that the disturbance also doesn't really get as well organized at all, just remains broad and strung out. And here, still the shear isn't a huge influence. It turned westerly up here, which might mean it's feeling a bit of that, but not much quite then. And as you can see, the shear here is still coming out and meeting up with that low. But again, it's keeping itself north from 94L, so it doesn't quite get sheared here. But about 66 hours, see the shear or southwest, more westerly winds really start to crank up here, and you can notice the wind is about 40 knots here if you look at the wind barb, but going east it slows down a lot, which means that you've got upper convergence, which is the opposite of upper divergence, which causes sinking air in this area. So you might see the convection in this general region get suppressed as the substance from upper convergence starts to act on the system, which will kill off a lot of that convection. See, the vorticity is still really strung out, so it's still not much at this point, at least in the GFS forecast. And then by 100 hours, so that's about 4 days from now, yeah, the vorticity is essentially gone. I'm not really sure where it even would be at this point. But as you can see, there's a lot of shear coming in this kind of area, hitting it, and then meeting up with a large, very expansive upper ridge up here. But that means you have a trough here, which is not very favorable for any kind of tropical activity, really, because it's going to foster upper convergence, which again means there's going to be sinking air. And as you can see, there's not really much in the area anymore, so it's going to be hard to get something really going in even more favorable conditions than this. So yeah, it's starting to look like the 94L probably won't be much, as it's just essentially run out of time and is going to get hit by shear before it can really do much. Now, looking at Gabrielle, you can tell it's not looking so good. There's a lot of like what seems to be some decent outflow, as well as like east kind of wind. So the shear isn't too bad. It's just by now it's getting north of that really favorable area where the or more favorable area where the water's warmer. You can see here that there's a bit of a gradient where it's warmer to the north, darker to the south, and a bit lighter to the north. That means it's cooler in that area by a few degrees. You can almost see the outline of the Gulf Stream, and extrapolating eastward. Looks like Gabrielle's around the edge of it now, which means getting a colder water that can't really support convection, as there's a lot less energy in the cooler waters right off the Gulf Stream. So it looks like Gabrielle is probably not going to be tropical for too much longer, as it's really getting caught up in this trough that's coming in here. This trough is what's carried Dorian out. It's way to the north here near Greenland. And also here's the upper low that was near Gabrielle. Anyway, yeah, it's getting taken off by this trough here, and it should go out into the Atlantic, and it won't be really any huge concern for many people, except once it hits Europe is not really strong extratropical cyclone, so it isn't anything too won't have really many major impacts. Now, there is a system that's currently designated as 0% in the next 48 hours and 20% in the next 5 days. The chance of formation per the National Hurricane Center tropical weather outlook. It seems it's about right in this area, and it's currently being supported by some trough here, or an upper trough here, and the tropical, or the Tutlow here, which this juxtaposition right here is causing general, almost anticyclonic flow in this area, which is supporting some mild convection. While this is favorable right now, as you can see, there's really no vorticity at the surface, or even near the surface at least, which means it would have an uphill battle even in a favorable environment, which isn't expected. As you can see right here, yeah, I'm not even sure where it would be at this point because there's really no reflection on here. But it seems that even if it sticks around, it might have a bit more of that environment with some upper ridging. But if it moves any west, then it gets hit by a lot of this southwesterly shear, which obviously is going to shear that convection away and make it hard to concentrate any vorticity near the surface. And then, if we assume it's around here, then, well, the environment isn't really great anyway. There's just a lot of there is a bit of divergence actually, but yeah, there's not really any organized kind of upper anticyclone that would really get convection going. It's just disorganized. And here, if this is that disturbance, then it's not really doing so well. As you can see, the reflection is weak and very elongated, and there's a good amount of southerly shear in that area, which will keep that convection from tightening up this area. So, well, you can kind of guess from the chances of formation, it's not really that good at the moment. So, probably can expect that not to form either. There's also a wave that's coming off Africa right about now. It looks like we might have a favorable environment soon after it starts slowing down closer to the Western Atlantic, because it's moving very fast in the trade surge. But it's a bit early to really start to speculate about that. And while it looks like we might have a bit of a quiet period for the next few days, the current sea surface temperature anomalies, well, this climatology does run a bit warm because of Atlantic multidecadal oscillation cycles, and you can see the main development region right here is generally warmer than average. This is a bit of a crude drawing here, but this is that general region. As you can see, there's a lot of orange in this region, which means you're going to get some of that rising air and expansion of areas favorable for tropical cyclones, and a bit in the Caribbean as well. So you might see some additional activity if that sinking air does start to back off, and maybe some activity later in the season than you're used to, especially given that the Pacific is generally cooler than average, at least in the eastern area in the equator. I'll have to see also the subtropics are warmer than the tropics in general, which means that area might kind of rob the rising air from the main development region, cause a bit of that sinking air, which would suppress the convection and really kind of suppress cyclogenesis in general in that area, while trying to get some up here. Whether that happens, we'll have to see. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today. If you have any feedback, as always, if you have feedback, I'd appreciate it. And I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Thanks for listening.